As custodians of these amazing brands that we work with and that we own and that we steward, we sometimes find ourselves in a position where it needs a refresh or it needs to be brought to life in a new way. The question is, do you do it alone? Do you be the hero? Or do you bring people along for the journey? Hello, Mark Jones here, and welcome to the CMO Show, a podcast that's celebrating 10 years, built by marketers for marketers here at ImpactInstitute in partnership with our friends at Adobe. Now, my very special guest today is Matthew Poulier. He's Global Head of Marketing and Content at Employment Hero. And if you don't know, these guys are big in the employment in HR, and it's a SaaS platform that looks after both small to medium-sized business owners and their employees. What's fascinating about these guys is they've just relaunched the brand as we speak. In fact, as we recorded it today. And so the question is, what do you do? How do you bring a new brand to market? Well, Matthew talks us through the process. It turns out he has a process that he has built up and studied and refined over the years. So let's dig into Matthew's story. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
For those playing at home, they may not know about Employment Hero, even though it's one of Australia's biggest, most successful software companies at the moment, right?
Yeah, we've just reached a $2 billion valuation, and we've also we're in profit now as well, so it's a big time for us.
Yeah, I did.
Growing incredibly fast.
I did read that, and as an entrepreneur myself, that's quite fun because you read stories about how much has been invested in the company and in the tech world. That's actually a big deal.
Oh yeah,
right?
It's huge. Yeah, and we're expanding globally as well. We've just opened up in Canada now as well. We've bought a company in Canada, and we're taking the Employment Hero brand around the world. So yeah,
that's great.
Big growth.
Well, look, I feel like for the listener, I need to just kind of level with them straight away, which is to say that independent of this conversation, we were already an Employment Hero customer. In fact, it's been a few years now, so we've seen
a very wise business decision.
Well, I like we enjoy good company. How about that?
Love it.
The reason for having a chat with you today is circumstantially, as it would happen, campaign's just gone live today.
Yeah, correct.
And for me as an observer, this is stepping up the brand visibility, right?
It's huge.
So tell me about it from your point of view.
So Employment Hero has been going about 10, 11 years. We've had amazing growth, obviously the numbers we talked about earlier. But we're at a point now where we've kind of changed who we are as a company. The analogy that I always give is a bit like Netflix. So Netflix was originally like a DVD delivery platform. And they saw the internet coming, so they pivoted to online streaming. But at that point, they had like a big brand refresh and repositioned who they are as a company. We're at that point now. So we were HR, payroll, but we've moved to take over the whole employment ecosystem. So we're adding like recruitment into the mix as well. And we want to be essentially service all of employment. So it's at this point, and we've got these grand ambitions to become the largest employment platform in the world. So we needed to step up as a brand, basically, and be a lot more confident and bolder and show our authority in the marketplace. And so too came our brand refresh. So it's not only a campaign, we're refreshing the whole brand, and that's going live as we speak. So yeah, that's the reason for it, basically. We're at this kind of big change and big growth period, and we wanted to become bolder and more confident with our brand.
Because I'm a bit of a news junkie, I did see that Seek had sold down some of its shares, and I thought that was interesting, in that context. So you're really starting to, get known for that broader story, right? So moving into recruitment and other parts of the stack. What is the reality of that from a customer experience point of view?
It just means that as a business owner, like lots of business owners have different platforms to manage different elements of their employment. So you might have one platform to manage your HR, one to manage your payroll, et cetera, your time clocks, whatever it may be. Employment Hero has basically we spent the last 10 years digitizing all of those services, and it's been an amazing service. but we've got to the point now where it's disjointed for customers, and it's a bit of a headache. It's a lot of a headache, in fact, having to juggle many different platforms. So we have launched our employment operating system, which essentially is tying together all of those separate platforms into one system. So it starts from before you're even an employee. So we've moved into the recruitment space. We're focusing on kind of small businesses, so we're not after like big corporate companies. But an employee, or sorry, I should say a job seeker, could apply for a job through Employment Hero Jobs. And they would then be onboarded onto the platform. So when they then start at a company that has got Employment Hero, they're already registered, and we can then set up their payroll and all their HR for day one.
What are the controls that you put around that from a security, privacy point of view? Because that raises all sorts of questions. For example, well, last time, my last job, I had this incredible salary, right? You can, we know that story, inflating your salary, being a little bit loose with the details.
It's all 100% private. So your employer can not essentially, you can't trick your employer. It'll be there, and vice versa as well. You can't trick each other. But it's not there to go kind of deep diving into someone's past. It's there to allow seamless onboarding and seamless setup, basically.
Yeah, great. Yeah. Okay. So then tell me about the idea behind the creative, and tell us what that is.
So we started off with a customer at the heart of it, traditional marketing 101, right? So like our customers are amazing. And what we stand for as a company is we've got hero in our name, and we really want to big up our customers because what they have done is truly amazing. They're the backbone of society. People have risked their mortgages. They put the house on the line to set up a business. And employment is essentially at the center of all of that. And it can be really stressful employing people. There's all kind of rules and regulations are set up for the employee, not for the employer. So it's a lot of risk put on the employer. And also the admin and stress that comes with it is huge. So we really acknowledge this. This is why we exist as a company. Our purpose is all about making employment easier and more valuable for our businesses. So we essentially wanted to bring this to the forefront. So the campaign, essentially, I'll try and describe it, but I'm not a creative director, so when I describe it, it sounds kind of rubbish. But it's an amazing campaign. So we essentially showcase problems that business owners or employees are facing, and we'll start off an ad. So if we take the video concept, for example. A business owner might be having trouble managing their employment on multiple apps. And we have introduced a brand character. So as I talked about...
Oh, it's a purple rabbit.
It is a purple rabbit. It's a very big 8-foot purple rabbit.
There we go. Is that because Easter's around the corner?
No.
Okay.
No, there's many... we went through lots of different animals, put them into testing. One reason why it's a purple rabbit is... intelligence and speed, and that is kind of at our forefront of what we stand for. We wanted a character that was likable, friendly, because we're global as well. It needed to be like country agnostic as well. So there's many reasons why a rabbit. Yeah. But the rabbit essentially represents Employment Hero and comes in a very comedic way and solves the employer's problems, and then they have fun and do a little dance together. It's very sweet, but I guess the whole point of it is to increase our brand recognition and brand recall. The previous brand was awesome for where we were in that stage of the business, but as we kind of move to this new era, we want to be more confident and essentially more memorable. Like we're moving into markets where there's tons of competition. We need to stand out from the crowd.
Okay.
So yeah, hence the rabbit.
That's great. What I like about it too is that you've put a bit of fun into, the experience.
100%.
So there's a lighter side. I'm interested in the marketing sort of geeky space. We talk about human truth, and I think what you've touched on there is a couple of things, but the pain of the of the employer and the risk, and I personally understand that very well. But also you talk about the tech side of things, which is the hassle and the stress of just making stuff go.
Yep.
What do you think is going to be the real gimme from a customer point of view when they see some of this positioning? Will you actually reduce the stress, or will you make the employer look like a hero? What's the, what do you think really is the get here?
So it 100% reduces the stress. It takes out almost like 80% of the admin it usually takes. If you kind of run separate platforms and run things manually, it can knock off 80% of time spent employing people. So that stress reduction is absolutely huge. It clearly touches a nerve for business owners that do have all this stress from a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
And we're kind of making it a lot more lighthearted than traditional B2B SaaS advertising would be. Kind of a lot more formal, but we're trying to make it fun.
Tell me about what you've learned from your previous roles. So head of brand and content globally for Cash Rewards, and I also note you've had another role at Westpac before that, and then the UK and Australia. What's the insight or the lesson you've learnt around understanding pain points as the starting point for marketing?
I'd probably pull out two specific roles that I've learned the most from. So my first role, within Australia, I joined M&C Saatchi, and I naively got a job on an account that I had never heard of, a little bank called the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. So I walked into this job, and it was to rebrand and launch the CommBank as a company.
Was that the Double M's campaign?
No, it was Can.
After that?
Can.
Oh, Can,
So
right, okay.
CommBank
Right.
Can. So, yeah. So I was locked away in like a war room for about 3 months to launch that campaign. But that role, although quite a stressful time, that 3-month period, was amazing. There's some incredible strategic and creative minds at M&C Saatchi. But one thing that really stood out for me was the way that they distill everything down into a single proposition. They have a briefing template that you brief the creative teams on. It's called Brutal Simplicity of Truth, a thought, I think. And the whole idea is to essentially start with a customer insight and summarize that in a one-line proposition, and then write a product insight. And it's 3 boxes that you have to fill in, and that summarizes the heart and the nugget of the insight of the customer problem. And how can you bring that to life in the most simplistic way? So I'd say that was like one humongous learning that I've got, and I still use that with my creative teams today. And that was over 10 years ago now. And another key role was that was embedded in human truth and insight was at Cash Rewards. So that was my last role prior to Employment Hero. Similar situation. They wanted to grow very quickly and hadn't invested in brand before. So I came on board to essentially rebrand and refresh the whole company and really kind of lead the brand development, and did a lot of research into the customer audience and potential customer audience. And we found out that customers were not loyal to Cash Rewards. They were shopping around for the best deal and best offer. So we essentially needed to elevate the brand to encourage brand loyalty. One thing that we did discover was that our customers absolutely loved the brand, absolutely loved the company. I mean, it was giving away free money, right? So, but we
What's
really
not to love?
Yeah, exactly. But
Although, where's the catch?
There was no catch.
What?
So we really wanted to elevate this and bring this to the core of the brand. So rebranded the whole company around joy, the joyfulness that you get with Cash Rewards.
So the emotional experience of being of that brand.
100%. So it was a very rational brand, and we took it into a very emotional space. And within a year, awareness had gone from like low 40s to high 60s. It was incredible. So that was kind of another key learning point, is that if you really do embed your creative and concepts down to a customer insight, it really resonates. So I would say those two experiences are kind of the ones that have had the most significance in my career. Okay.
What is your advice then when you think about that? How do you approach this? Talk me through the 2 or 3 basic stages that you go through on this, because I feel like you've probably got a mental model that you use.
100%. And I've been trying to take the whole company through the process that we take. It's kind of a formulaic process that I've approached. So step 1 would be understanding the customer. So getting all your research done, understanding those key pain points, setting up the brand tracking for starters as well. Next step, brand strategy and positioning, who we are, what we stand for. So we landed on a proposition working with a big agency in the UK to the proposition was all about unleashing the collective potential. So the idea behind that is that all of these small businesses and employees have got loads of potential brewing there, but they're held back by day-to-day problems such as admin and stress, et cetera, et cetera. And when they work together, so it shouldn't be the employer versus the employee, and it shouldn't be we're the hero, it's all of us working together to allow us to unleash the potential. So step 2 was essentially nailing that brand proposition, which we think is really solid. Step 3, and I've done this in the last 2 roles as well, we've formed an internal advertising agency at Employment Hero called the Hero Collective. And we move at a crazy pace at Employment Hero. We work like a startup, essentially, even though we're kind of getting on to 1,500 people. We move very, very quickly.
1,500 people in the company, not the agency.
1,500 people in the company.
Okay.
There's about 30 people in the agency.
Okay.
But essentially, we didn't want to use external advertising agencies on a day-to-day basis because we move so quickly, and we gather all these customer insights on a daily basis. We work on Slack and share so much internally that we wanted that resource to be available in-house. So we've built out this internal agency that has allowed us to start producing content very, very, very quickly.
And was that your idea coming from an agency guy, sort of?
Yeah, I mean, I love that.
Right?
I love running agencies, and I just see the power of it and the power of having different skill sets of creative people working together and brainstorming on a day-to-day basis. So the next thing was the brand refresh and the brand ID. So we've completely redesigned what the brand looks like. We've kept the purple because there was a lot of brand authority in the purple. And we've kept the logo as well because that was recognized. But
I was going to ask you about that because it's long.
It is long. It is long. But there was brand recall in it. So we didn't want to mess with that.
No, you don't. Keep going. Yeah.
So we've all the colors, while we're still purple, we've dived up the vibrancy and we've introduced some secondary colors as well.
Yeah, good.
The tone of voice, we've evolved to be a lot more colloquial and down to earth, but also having a voice of authority so we can speak with authority to our customers. And then we've introduced a new illustration style and also a new photography style as well. Like I mentioned earlier, our customers are our heroes. So we are trying to ditch Getty, essentially, at Employment Hero. So we've done about almost 30 photo shoots in the last few months. Shooting our customers, and we're trying to start using all of our customers' real photography or real life imagery in our photos. Okay. And they're kind of raw, high flash photos to kind of show the authenticity.
Yeah, good.
So last step is the global campaign, which was launched this week. So we essentially are launching with the rabbit. From a global basis. There's a series of videos. We're out of home, we're in radio. We're launching in Australia and New Zealand this week, UK in the next week, and then we'll go to Canada later on the year as well, and Southeast Asia. So that's I think it's 5 steps, my 5-step process to essentially evolve the brand.
Yeah, that's great. That makes a lot of sense. How is the day-to-day work changing for you in the context of AI?
Oh, shifting gears. Okay. In terms of within the marketing environment?
Yeah, how do you get it done?
Employment Hero very recently has really had a real big push to AI to adopt it and start using it. We don't want to rebel against
within the
it.
platform itself,
no, but also as employees. So we're really encouraging every employee to, if they see an opportunity to use AI, we're really trying to use that. So
great.
From a design point of view, we use it every day. So we we use all different platforms to help ideate. I wouldn't say they were the final ideas. They're good for thought starters. For example, the rabbit we just used last week, we had shot some photos and we needed the hand in a different position. We used AI to kind of reposition that hand. It wasn't perfect, so we still need retouches and finessing on top of it.
What, had 7 fingers? Or?
No, it had the right number of fingers, but it didn't look very real. So
well, that's the AI cliche anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So we are 100% embracing it, but it's not. Not yet. Is it the BN or BN? What's the phrase?
Be all and end all.
Be all and end all. Yeah, exactly. So we're using it to enhance the work and allowing us to be quicker and do more work, basically.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I know that's the compulsory question in these environments, but in terms of the conversations I have, it's a very much an active one in terms of, well, what could be done in the future. You speak about going fast, which is the,
But I think it's one to...
Which, by the way, nice rabbit. Sorry. Rabbits go fast. I just
Perfect.
Just connected in my head.
Good link.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing to help with speed, but I don't think it should be 100% relied on, especially as we're going to end up... all brands will end up producing more and more content through AI, but I really see it as all looking very samey and generic and kind of standard. Within the Hero Collective, we've just hired a social and video content team. And yes, AI will help them produce the video and edit it quicker and things like that. However, there is no replacement for real life conversations like this one. We have to speak to our customers and shoot our customers and showcase them, and it will not replace any of that kind of stuff.
What I'm picking up is a real focus on visual identity. You talked about Getty, dumping them. If they're listening, they're having a great day.
We still do use Getty a bit, but the idea is to reduce the amount we use them.
Sorry, no, I just like cheeky asides. But the point here is visual identity and really owning visual identity.
100%.
And I know that we're talking about 101 marketing stuff.
Yep.
But it's a really great reminder in this current age where just because you can make a purple rabbit in AI, it doesn't mean it's going to be perfect.
Oh, but yeah, I completely agree. And the rabbit is also it's a real rabbit. We shot the rabbit. We got a whole rabbit suit.
It's a dude and a rabbit.
Yeah, but we didn't want to use an AI-generated rabbit or a CGI-generated rabbit. We wanted that authenticity of it being next to the business owner. So we purposely chose to have a real rabbit in inverted commas.
So that's all really good, and I'm glad to hear it because I think, even as an independent company, the fact that you're going to continue to do that. Typical budget questions. So, it just all sounds glorious, right? I presume the tab's not unlimited?
It's not. Like, frugal's the wrong word, but we don't spend unnecessarily. We count every dollar, and we make sure that we spend it in very wisely. So yes, it looks like we're a massive success story and we can throw money away, but we're really trying not to do that. So for example, it launches today. We're setting up regular meetings as the campaign goes on to turn things off and on, to tweak things, et cetera, et cetera. The rabbit may not work. Like I 100% hope it works, and I'm pretty sure it will work. But if it doesn't, we'll tilt and we'll go another way. We don't want to waste money. So,
what's your biggest struggle right now in your role?
In terms of creating,
it could be anything.
Anything.
I'm just sitting here reflecting on the remarkable journey in your career.
Yeah.
And then what you've done. How long have you been doing, this work, this 5 stages you spoke about, going from sort of turning up and launching this campaign? How long was that?
So at Employment Hero?
Yeah.
I've been here about a year now, just over a year.
Yeah, okay.
So we probably started about 6-8 months ago.
Yeah.
Like
so you have been moving quick.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm asking is, what's the experience like, and what's the challenging bit that you wrestle with every day?
I guess probably the biggest challenge was this was doing something very different to what traditional SaaS companies would create. So it was trying to convince everyone that this is the right thing to do. There was some skepticism internally, but everyone has now seen the execution and is 100% on board with it. So that was a little challenge. In terms of volume of work, so we've got big ambitious goals. I talked about, we wanted to do more and more video. We have got an amazing director that we've got as a freelancer in the team. We've just got 2 content creators as well join the social team, but I want to ramp up video by a million, so that will become a bottleneck very soon, and I'm going to have to prove its worth and prove it was worth the investment to help grow the team to do more and more. But the demand from the Hero Collective, our internal agency, is just growing because everyone can see, everyone's eyes light up when they see the work that we can create and that we can do it at speed without the need for external resources. It's been awesome.
And I hope you're batting away the "can you fix my PowerPoint" requests?
They do still come through. Still come through. We're trying to set up a lot of templates as well to try and push those back, but Nothing beats a designer working on it.
I would agree with that. Well, I think the outstanding piece there is to think about the stakeholder relationships and management of that, right, over time. And I'm sure that's been a big focus for you. What's your hot tip there in terms of keeping people on board when you're doing something new?
It's taking people on the journey and making sure that they are engaged every step of the process and feedback is given rather than here's a rabbit out of the blue. That freaks people out.
Pulled out of a hat, no doubt. Sorry.
Exactly.
It was sitting there.
Oh, perfect. I wish I did that. Just keeping people on board for the journey. Because if you don't, then it just comes across like they're not part of it and they feel disengaged. So that's, say, the most important thing. And that I've learned that from my agency days. It was, keeping your clients happy, stepping them across along the journey. I was like in agencies, I hated like formal presentations. I always wanted to do kind of work in progress engagement presentations where I could get their input in ideas and kind of workshop things and to make sure that they feel part of the journey.
Last question, how would you describe then the broader team? What's life like? And, I have to ask you this because it's an HR company. Like you're selling HR, like do you get like 4 days off a month or tell me something?
Sadly not. We don't get 4 days off. But the company is run in a very specific way. It's called the EH way. And essentially that's what attracted me to the company in the first place. It's what that breaks down to is it's mission first. So we've got a goal to become the largest employment platform in the world. So that's very exciting. We're all kind of powering ahead at 100 miles an hour. So it's not a stagnant company at all. There's really a lot of energy, which is good fun. And
awesome.
Working in advertising agencies, that's what it felt like. You were all working together for a common mission. I've worked in corporate, and I've felt personally that it wasn't like that, and you're kind of against each other, whereas this is much more like my advertising agency days, so that's brilliant. We're apolitical, so we don't let politics come into the workplace, so that reduces a lot of arguing and things like that. So we think
and by that you mean, groups of people who feel certain things, not actual politics in the world.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. So and then the third thing, I probably should have said it in the other order, is that we're 100% remote. So we've got people from all over the world, all over Australia. There is one office in Sydney, but you don't have to go there. We're 100% remote. So because there's so many people from different walks of life, we try not to let political or religious views cause arguments or anything like that. So we're very much like one team to help achieve this mission. So that's essentially why I think Employment Hero is a cool place to work, because we've got all these things in place that allow that progression, basically.
Well, maybe you might pick up some more people who, in the tech space, are being forced to go back to their offices every day. So
100%. I see that, and I cringe. And we're proof that remote first does work.
That's great. Well, Matthew Poulier, thank you for being my guest.
Thanks for having
me. Really great to hear how you've taken a germ of an idea or a seed of an idea and I should say a small tiny egg and turned it into a rabbit at Easter time. But
carrot?
I'm mixing up my metaphors as I tend to do. Anyway, you've done an amazing job. Thank you for sharing your story. It's great to meet you.
Yeah, awesome.
Hope you enjoyed my conversation with Matthew Poulier. How about that internal agency? I'd be interested to know if you have experience working at an agency within a company, and if you're on the outer, if you're in a traditional agency, what your perspective might be on whether that's a good or a bad thing. What's interesting is the speed at which they're working, the ability to privately share and use live data that's coming through on a real-time basis. And it seems like for this company, at least, when you're growing not just locally here in Australia but globally and you're really pushing hard, that seems to be the thing that is making them not just comfortable but really highly engaged and driven as they roll out this brand campaign. So great story, and I'll be looking forward to seeing how they grow over time, and I hope you took away some really interesting lessons. That's it for today on the CMO Show. My name is Mark Jones. It's been such a pleasure to have you with us for this episode. Tune in as always. You can get us on all the regular podcasting platforms. We are a podcast brought to you by ImpactInstitute in partnership with our friends at Adobe. That's it for this time. See you soon. The CMO Show is produced by ImpactInstitute in partnership with Adobe. ImpactInstitute is a professional services firm for purpose-led organisations. Our unique blend of impact consulting, brand storytelling and event services help our clients create meaningful change. Our executive producer is Ryan Newman, our producer is Pamela Obeid, and the show is engineered by Ed Chang and Daniel Ma. And a quick shout out to Adobe Experience Cloud, which gives digital businesses everything they need to design and deliver great customer experiences. Visit business.adobe.com to learn how Adobe can help transform your business.